Love, Truth and Inspiration is Vuyisa Lungana Daily. Welcome to you. As I was watching the inquiry into state capture with somebody close to me, it sparked off a conversation that ultimately led to a discussion about how none of these processes, being the state capture inquiry and others, are actually shining the light on the real cause of the current situation we find ourselves in as a country that is full of leaders that are corrupt, and just not leaders only, but people in general that participate in corruption in all levels. And that is what is coming out of most of these processes. And nobody, in particularly the media, is shining the light on the fact that, well, this is a result of the fact that 300 years ago, there was this situation where this segment of people was oppressed and forced to live under conditions where their rights and their privileges were not being recognized. They were not afforded the very same opportunities as another group of people. And as a result, you have now this situation where the ANC, as the people who are in power, are the ones who have been the first ones to attempt at fixing and rectifying this situation that has been wrong for over 300 years. And bear in mind that they've only been at it for only 25 years. And the thing is, nobody is having that discussion. The media itself is not probing, such matters that, well, we have corrupt officials today because these are people that come from an oppressive background where these people were oppressed, and right now they feel like they need to be making up for all that time in their lives that they were oppressed and they couldn't access all these opportunities that they are able to access right now, primarily because of the position that they hold. Nobody is looking at that and saying that is actually the main contributor to all the malfeasance and corruption that we are seeing today in all these processes, the inquiry into state capture and others. Nobody is shining a light on that, on the fact that the ANC have been the first ones to make an attempt at rectifying this situation. And that's where the truth of the matter lies for me. We should not only focus on what has happened post 1994. We need to go further back, because what took part and is happening post 1994 is a result of what happened before. So logically, that's where we need to look for, or that's where we need to look to formulate the solutions to come up with for these kind of challenges and problems that we are facing currently or post 1994. But what you see happening now with all these processes is just looking at, well, you came into power in 1994 and you're supposed to fix this, but nobody is saying, well, who were you first and foremost to try and fix this? And not in a condescending sense to say that, well, who are you, no, but who are you? Genuinely asking to say that as you are now rectifying what we now have come to know has been wrong and has been happening for the past 300 years, as the person who is first at attempting to fix and rectify this whole situation, who are you? Where do you come from? What's your background? What do you value? And really, what is the true essence of your character? On the other hand, nobody is shining a light on people that are benefiting, even still now, because of what happened in the past, and saying, hey, and pointing a finger at them and saying, hey, you need to come to the party and not be there on the side pointing fingers with the rest of us and saying, no, our government is misleading us, they are misappropriating our funds and abusing our power and their power that we've given to them. That person is not saying, ish, I'm in the position that I am. I'm in this privileged position to own and run this big company that has been around for the past half century. And it's so successful on the backdrop of suffering of other people and, the detriment of a group of people. No, that person is not saying, I actually need to come to the party. They're standing on the sidelines and pointing fingers with us. Nobody's shining a light on that. I mean, to speak in real terms, all these private entities that are making so much money in South Africa, this 10% that is being, or rather that is kept referring to as holding most of the money that we have in this country, nobody is shining a light on them to say, hey, you know how you got to have such wealth. You know what it took for you to get to where you are. It's on the backdrop of the suffering and the injustices done to other people or a specific group of people. And those are the people now that most need your help. And you choose to just, reserve whatever gains you have in some trust somewhere, as we know, and stand on the sidelines and point fingers with us at the very same government who you are part of creating to be the way that they are. Because honestly, you look at all these so-called leaders that we have, those guys are still suffering very much from the oppressions they experienced, pre-1994. And they are desperately trying to find ways to make up for that. Majority of them. There are those few who stand true to their character and they say, no, I will still push forward and be an upstanding, honest individual who walks the path of righteousness. There are those few, but they're not enough. And the truth of the matter is, to fill that gap, you need the actual perpetrators of all these troubles that we're experiencing now. The actual cause is not the ANC. The actual cause of state capture. No, it's not ANC. It goes beyond that. It runs deeper than that. The reason the ANC is caught up in state capture today is because there are those kind of leaders. People who come from being oppressed and now they want to rectify that first in their own lives before they can do it for the country. And who is in the best position to roll out this making a difference of our society and changing it into what it actually should be? It's the people that actually instigated it in the first place. And we are not shining a light and pointing a finger on those people to say, hey, you private sector or whoever, come to the party, and play your part. Because it's because of your actions we are in this position. That is the simple truth of the matter. And it brings, for somebody like me, it now brings me to a point where just even paying attention to these processes, such as the inquiry into state capture, it brings me to the point where they just null and void, you know what I mean? Because I'm just watching it now to just hear what comes out. But the thing is, I know nothing is actually being solved because the root cause, the actual cause of the problems that are coming out of it is not being addressed.